What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hamlin, aka the Laptop Legend, and today, day trading, I made $1,900 and something dollars. And honestly, I butchered so many opportunities today. It should have easily been well over $2,000. It could have been well over $3,000, maybe well over $4,000. But you know what? I broke out of my range of $1,300 per day, so I'm grateful for that. I'm not going to complain about making almost $2,000 in one day, sitting in my basement alone, talking to myself. And you know, it's a good life, man. It's a good life. So I want to talk about all the opportunities in the stock market in this video because man, if you saw my video yesterday, they ended up announcing a deal with Manny Pacquiao, bro. Manny Pacquiao, this 6-cent stock deal with Manny Pacquiao. It gapped up nice and big, had a nice morning spike, and then it did fade down a little bit the rest of the day. Came back up a little bit into close, but I think it may see some continuation, so I definitely want to look at those charts and tell you guys what I think about that. And I think the most interesting thing is we had this stock that literally closed at the high of the day. It was up, I have to check, I don't know off the top of my head, it might be like 700% up on the day, and this could be one of those runners that is a multi-day runner. This thing was absolutely insane today. They had some COVID news about like 100% efficacy in their trials over in India, so absolutely insane. I want to dive into the news for that so you guys can be aware, because this is the hottest stock in the market right now. By far. We have some other stocks that I've been talking about the last couple of days that are still doing really, really well, so I want to make sure those are on your radar. And I just want to make sure you guys are taking advantage of everything, because we've had some short squeezes and Nasdaq's, like literally the market is feeling pretty hot right now, guys. So I'm just excited. I'm still excited for tomorrow, and hopefully you guys are as well. Like this video if you haven't already. I guess I don't want to give you guys an order. Please like this video. If you don't want to, that's totally fine as well. But no cookie for you. And subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, let's dive into my computer. All right, guys. So this is the stock that was signing a deal with a top world-class generation athlete from the video yesterday. And you can see they absolutely delivered. Crazy gap up, crazy spike right at open, and then some nice dip buying opportunities, but I butchered this one horribly. So I just want to show you guys the news real quick. So you can see they signed a deal with Manny Pacquiao and the Manny Pacquiao Foundation endorsement deal with LTNC, and Manny Pacquiao actually replied to the tweet, which is pretty awesome. I think one of the issues is, and why this didn't spike more when he did tweet, is that, you know, when you tweet a reply to someone, it goes under a separate section, and it doesn't always show up in the main part. So you can see that, you know, if you go into the replies, it's right here. But if you just go to his main, just his main page, it's not actually gonna show up, which is probably why this didn't see an immediate spike when he tweeted about it, just as a little bit of a heads up. But again, guys, there's a lot of opportunities on a chart like this. I did make some decent money right at open on this, but the fills were really, really tough. And I did end up shorting a little bit into this spike. And then I tried to dip buy here. I nailed it with 100K shares here. But then I got faked out on this particular bounce right here. Very, very frustrating. I ended up buying at 6.9. I bought 200K shares. I believe it was 6.9. Maybe it was 7. I think it was 6.9. I bought 200K shares, and it had this little fake out where it goes green for a second here, and it rips up to 7, but then immediately dumps down to 6.71, and I ended up cutting half of it at 6.8, taking a $100 loss, and then cutting the rest at 6.9, I think, and getting out break even on the rest of that. And then it ends up bouncing a lot higher, and I would have made several hundred more dollars just on that one play. And then the rest of the day, it just kind of goes into this weird consolidation. But that's not honestly a bad thing. You know, consolidating and finding new support levels is always a good thing in my opinion. And regardless, you know, this thing could be decent from the short side if it goes and has a nice panic. So either way, this thing is definitely still in play. And just as a reminder, you know, it's coming up towards those resistance levels at 0.0875, and just keep that in mind, guys. That is going to be the most important level for a breakout. Now, LTNC has a lot of shares outstanding. I want to say it's like 18 billion or something like that. So the company is already almost valued at $1 billion, you know, above 7 cents. If it's trading above 7 cents, I think it's like 800 million or something like that in the 6 cent range. So keep that in mind. This might be a little bit overvalued. So again, I'm hesitant about taking a long position just to swing it from these price ranges because I think it has a long way it could pull back. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what this continued partnership with Manny Pacquiao brings in the future. Now, to dive into the crazy stock, one of the crazy one today, it is BPSR. Again, that is BPSR. I kept messing the ticker up today when I was calling down the Discord. I kept calling it BSPR. No, it's BPSR. Boys procreate sometimes regularly. That is my it's my little thing for you today. And look at this, guys. Absolutely insane chart. And I'm frustrated on this one, mainly because I missed out on this run-up right here. If I draw a line just to see what this percentage is, man, that's a, what is that? 15% run? 13%? No, 68% run? That's a 68% run from 19 all the way up to 32. That's an insane run. And I know a lot of guys were chasing this, you know, here, chasing this here, and actually still ended up making some good money. You know, 500 bucks was small size, absolutely crazy. I couldn't chase this one because the executions on this one were actually really bad for me. You know, we've had a lot of runners. RGBP, for example, again, this one went crazy, went from, you know, 0.002 all the way up to 8. Huge supernova. This has really fast executions, pretty much instant. But for whatever reason, for me, on BPSR, the executions are very slow, and it is very thinly traded. Very thinly traded. So for me, it's difficult to chase, even with small size, into a ton of green candles when it runs from 16 to 25, because I know that if I buy here, it could dump all the way down to 21 before I can get out, and then it can bounce to new highs, you know, by the time I end up getting filled on my trying to cut losses, quickly sell. So it's very tricky to nail these ones if you're trying to trade the way that I trade, which leads me to say that, like, this is still a beautiful, beautiful chart, guys. This thing closed at high of day, and while it potentially could gap up overnight, I was not comfortable overnighting this because, again, it closed up 636% on the day, which is crazy, man. So this could turn into an MDMP type run if you need a reminder of what that chart looked like. A couple of days, you know, it went from pretty much nothing all the way up to 94 cents. So it wouldn't be too out of the question to see this one, BPSR, go from what? You know, 4 cents on one day and, you know, 37 cents and then hit $1 tomorrow. It would not be too out of the question, honestly. I'm not saying that cannot happen, so I'm definitely going to be looking for some more long opportunities on this one. And if you guys want to study what a day two looks like of a stock in this range, literally we can go back and look at MDMP. We can literally go do that. So what day was this on? This was on 3.9 and 3.10. So I'll just call it 3.11. So here's how you can do this. You go to on demand. You go to 3.11, call it 3.11 right here, okay? Go, MDMP. And now we go to the 1 day, 1 minute. So now you can see this chart a little bit better. So again, guys, look at this chart. This thing looks pretty similar. Now, the other one, BPSR, did have some more consolidation, some more pullbacks, but this thing really closed right at the high of day, and the next day, it gapped up, not a whole lot, just a little bit. I mean, it closed at 26, and I guess it gapped up to 33 maybe, and then it pulled back a little bit, and then it ripped past those highs. So if we see a gap up, a mini dip, but not a huge panic, you know, below where it closed, and then it rips past those highs, that's a pretty good sign you want to stay long because this thing could continue to run and could continue to have some short squeezes. And again, there was a lot of range on MDMP. So again, I like studying the past to figure out what the future is likely to do. And that's why I love looking at these charts. So I think we could definitely see a chart that's pretty similar to this. And again, what is the key factor about this? The key factor is the fact that it keeps making higher highs, right? It keeps making these higher highs. So if I go here, you guys can see, here's the low here. There's the next low. There's the next low. Higher highs and higher lows, honestly. And it never really breaks down. Like it never really breaks down, man. It never really breaks down until kind of right at these levels. Right at these levels. And when it breaks down past these levels, that's kind of when it's game over. That's kind of when it's game over. So at this point, I'm excited to see if we can get a chart that looks like MDMP tomorrow on BPSR, because if we can get that thing to go all the way up to 94 cents, oh my goodness, it's going to be insane. It's going to be absolutely insane. And in case you guys, want to look at the news, let me go away from on demand. Yeah, so you can see here they announced the positive results of initial COVID-19 Zofin patient trial in India and trial expansion. So positive results for the first 10 COVID-19 patients treated with Zofin in India, and it sounds pretty good. Now, only 10 patients, maybe that's not enough. Again, I don't think any stock that runs 600+% a day is not going to pull back at all. Typically, they see some big pullbacks from the very top. Typically, 75% plus from the very top. And if you need another example of that, let's just go back one more time. Look at the chart for MDMP. So this thing ran all the way up to 94. There were people probably buying at 94, thinking it's going to run to $5 and not pull back at all. Now it's back down at 16. And this kind of feels like a base, man. It kind of feels like a base. So, I mean, if you want to buy down here at 12, at 16, it could easily pop back up to 40 cents again. Absolutely, it could, and that's honestly not a bad play if you just want to have a little sleeper hold and see what happens. If you want to park your money somewhere for a week or two and wait for a big spike, it's probably going to happen, honestly, if I had to guess, so that actually might be a decent play. But you can see that it came down a lot after those two huge green days. It came down a lot, so I'm not saying you can buy BPSR here and be positive no matter what it does. I'm not saying that at all. This thing definitely is going to pull back, and it's going to pull back hard. But tomorrow could be a really nice, really big green day. And I'm fingers crossed, guys, because currently there's no shares to short of this, but if there are shares to short, by the time this thing reaches 90 whatever cents, it's going to be a great short on the backside as well. But you will also be able to dip buy this on the backside on the way back down. So keep that in mind. When it gets too overextended, too many red candles, it's going to be a good dip buy at some point. And based on how thinly traded it is, you don't have to take that many shares, man. You can take 2,500 shares, take 5,000 shares, and get a really nice bounce and make some nice money. So that is probably my number one watch for tomorrow. Another one that you guys really want to keep an eye on is VBHI. Because this one, they had a, well, I guess you can't even see it here. It popped up on Fidelity, and I called it out above where it was. I called it out like right here. I want to say, maybe it was even like right here. I called this thing out early, right where the volume came in. You can see, yeah, so I guess it was like right up here. They had this filing, and it basically said they are going to be offering up to 1 billion more shares. And anytime someone is selling 1 billion shares, that typically is not a good thing for the stock price. Now, there was a typo, and they made it look like they're selling 10 billion shares, or selling up to 10 billion shares, which I think is why it sold off so hard, because I think the current float is like, or the current shares that they're allowed to sell is like 500 million or something like that. I haven't done a ton of research on this stock, and I think it's overall a pretty good company in terms of what their acquisitions are and the actual business model. They're acquiring companies that are supposedly profitable already or something like that already have revenues. So I think it's a pretty decent long-term investment if you can get in at a good price range. But they are selling up to 1 billion shares at 1 penny, and I'm just not sure what's going to happen, honestly. If everyone sold because they thought it was 10 billion shares and then now it's only 1 billion shares, it may bounce pretty hard tomorrow. So I'm interested to see that. But this is just another one that is on the watch list. And if you can get in a swing near that 1 penny area, I think it's very likely to be profitable long term. Because I mean, look at this chart, man. This thing spikes up, 9 cents, 8 cents, 7 cents, a lot. It's happened a lot. So I think it's not out of the question to see this thing back up there in that range at some point. So keep that in mind. Just some other stocks in the OTC land before I go on to Nasdaq's real quick. Just want to run through these because there's so many to talk about, obviously. GGII is still holding up, and this thing, my goodness, guys, it ran right into close, and look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. If I look at, 5-day, 15-minute, every single time, guys, it keeps breaking over these key levels. So it's right back at that 3 cent area. And again, this thing is just straight up and hasn't really had any huge red days, guys. It hasn't really had any huge red days. You can see it consolidated in this area, and I said potentially could rip past those highs, and it absolutely did, guys. It blew past that, and I don't know. I'm still not convinced that this thing doesn't go to 5 cents. I'm really not. So I'll be watching for this on the long and the short side if they can have more shares to short. They didn't have any today, but we'll see what happens. So many opportunities. GVSI. This stock was great today. They had shares to short, and I was going long on this and going short on this. I was short right here at the end. I wish I could have stayed short, but I don't like shorting overnight. But this thing was also pretty overextended. Absolutely wild, guys. Absolutely wild. Just so many opportunities So many opportunities. This is another one that I'm trading, and I don't really have a great plan on this. It's pretty overextended at this point. Another green day, so I feel like it may have a big red day tomorrow, especially based on how it was at the end of the day. So maybe trying to catch a morning panic on this or something, but we'll see. You never know what's going to happen. Let's see. Anything else? VBHI, I already talked about that. There was another one where George Sharp confirmed, I think it was ROTC, if I'm not mistaken. ROCT, that's what... What? RTOC? What did I trade, bro? Give me a second. RETC, that's what it is. RETC. George Sharp tweeted that he actually filed for custodianship or something like that, and this thing just spiked really, really hard. I made a couple $100 on this run. Chasing was small size, man. This was insane. This was beautiful, and you know, it was a smart sell where I sold because it could not break past that 1 cent psychological area, or, you know, those previous highs of 1.03. But wow, what a beautiful run. And I called this out right here. My first buy was at 75, and I was trying to buy earlier. First buy was, well, that's kind of a crooked line, but my first buy was like right there. I saw it like right here, and just absolutely beautiful run, guys. So this is another one you still want to keep an eye on because it's a custodianship play. If this thing breaks out past that 1.03 level, it's going to run hard, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. HMBL, this had a nice rebound day, and some nice shorting opportunity and some nice long opportunity depending on, you know, what you're into. I would have longed this if I had unlimited longing potential, but I don't, so I ended up trying to short, and I just flipped a few short. Nothing really too crazy on this today. That's pretty much all the good ones, I think. Did I already call out GVSI? Yeah, that's the one I just called out. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Those are the main big ones. Oh, WTII. This is the last OTC that I traded today. Had some nice spike ups and then nice pullbacks. Made some nice money on this one. All right, so in terms of that's it for Nasdaq, guys. In terms of, I literally cannot speak. That is it for OTCs. In terms of Nasdaq's, I'm all over the place today. In terms of Nasdaq's BTX, guys, this was the stock of the day in the Nasdaq world. This thing kept squeezing, and I personally thought it would have been an easy short today because it got so overextended. But holy moly, guys, it proved me wrong, and it absolutely blew the top off today. So if I had to guess, tomorrow is going to be an easy short day. An easy short day. So if you can get shares to short of BTX, it's probably going to be a first red day, and it's probably going to have a lot of downward pressure and could easily fade from, you know, $40 all the way down to I don't know, 28, 27, 25, something like that. So this could be a nice fader. I'm personally probably not going to be shorting it because I don't have shares to short, but if you guys can get them, if you guys can reserve them somehow, it probably is going to be a great trade because this thing is really, really overextended at this point. It really is. So be ready for that if you want to be able to trade those. UXIN, this had some great range on the long side. It really did. Had a nice breakout there. A nice breakout. So this is another one you guys probably want to keep watching for tomorrow. RHE, this is my favorite old supernova stock from back in the day, back in late December, on the 28th of December, same day as ACY. I talk about this stock pretty much once a week at least, but this is the one that I bought at 3 and then half sold at 12, half sold at 6 on this crazy day here. And former supernovas, guys, they like to run, and if you can pick them up, you know, when they're at their cheap end, you know, on the cheap end before they have a huge green day, it's typically a pretty sound strategy, honestly. Another good example of this actually is DPW. I want to put this on your radar. I missed the bottom of this, guys. I missed the bottom. This is a former multi-supernova, and I really think, you know, if you could have gotten it in this area right here, I think it would have been an absolute great buy because I think this thing could easily have an explosive blow the top off day, get back over this $4 mark, or at least test it. So if you're getting at 2, that's a 100% gain for parking your money for a few days, a few weeks. So this is one of those ones that I also think is decent to park your money into if you can get a nice fill near the bottom. And I love doing that on these former supernovas. I guess a couple other stocks moving today. We had AHT. This was another Nasdaq, AHT closed near those highs, so may see some continuation tomorrow. GALT, I don't know if this is a chart you guys want to look into, go for it. And TYHT, this one was doing something. We had the former supernova, TLRY. TLRY, this was doing something today. Had someone bank like $2,000 on some options trade with this one today. So just a lot of stocks moving, guys. Really a lot of stocks moving. I got to cut the video off here, but hopefully you found it helpful. If you made it to the end, man, comment your favorite stock for tomorrow. Let me know what you think BPSR does. Let me know, what you think VBHI does. I want to hear your thoughts because it's exciting. And hopefully I can crack 2K tomorrow. I'm mad I didn't do that today because I butchered my longs on LTNC and BPSR. But we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. I'm hyped. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.